Good evening, everyone. It's finished at Molineux. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Newcastle United 1. It's finished 1-1 between Newcastle and Wolves. I think in every single game since Wolves were promoted back to the Premier League a couple of years ago.
No. What? We lost at St James's,
didn't we? We did. Oh, no. Yes, we did.
All the ones at Molineux have been 1-1.
There you go. There's the stat, man. Yes, of course, 1-1. It's finished today. Jacob Murphy's late free kick has given Newcastle a point back up to the northeast. And I'm with Sam and with Adam for scoring the players. Karl Darlow started in goal after passing a fitness test, but Mr. Molineux should have saved Raul Jimenez's shot.
You would say so. He went with it with his wrong hand, didn't he? He kind of went across with it and hooked his other arm. It was a bit of. I mean, it was a good shot.
He's got to save it though, hasn't
he? Yeah, considering the blistering form he's been in, you would have probably banked on him saving that. Apart from that, he was okay. I mean, judging from the defence, their only real efforts were from long range today, which we'll come on to praising the back three a bit later on. But Darlow made a good save in the first half, which again he should have been saving that anyway. That goal, he's not going to be getting a great mark for it, will it? Is he today? So, then it's a tricky one. This, I'm going to go 5, straight down the middle, bang, 5. I am, and you may agree, you may disagree, but he should be doing better with that shot, but. There wasn't really a goal coming in this game, and both goals in it were a bit soft in a way.
Yeah, very soft. I think get your comments in on that score, because I think I would have gone a tad lower, because Karl Darlow's been that good since he's been in the team. I expected to save that, in my opinion, but it's again, am I being a bit too harsh? Get your comments in below. Adam, I'll let you start with the first centre half, and that was Fabian Schär. I think the 3 centre halves obviously chose themselves in the end, because we didn't really have anything else. There was no alternatives on the bench. Obviously, you had Emil Kraft to an extent, but Fabian Schär, how do you think he got on tonight, Adam?
Yeah, I'd give him a 7. He's a player I've been wanting to see back in the starting lineup for quite a while. He has been pretty poor when he has been coming in and out of the team, but he's been playing out of position quite a lot in centre midfield. He's had his injury problems, but we'll go on. I thought, although it was a frustrating game to watch, we'll go on to how we weren't really attacking the game as per usual. But when you are defending the game, you need the defence to be solid, and I thought they were today. I can't remember many great chances Wolves created, and Schär was part of that back three, trying to bring the ball out. A couple of good interceptions. I think when you get a 1-1 draw away and you defended reasonably well, I can't be pretty critical of him, so I'd give him a 7 for the day.
No coincidence, is it? He's played his best game for a while in his proper position.
In his position, exactly. He did. We've said it before. He's my favourite centre half out of the lot. I know he has been poor for his own standards, but if he's playing week in, week out centre half and stays fit, there's not many better centre halves than him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there might just be something in this playing players in their position.
Yeah, well, I don't think any of the midfielders were, but we'll come on to that.
Adam, just to go back on Fabian Schär, do you think that his best position is a centre-half, as in 3 centre-halves? Because I feel like when it's just him and somebody else, I think he's always suspect.
I think Fernandes brings the best out of him. I don't think he's played many games with just him and Fernandes in a back 4. Usually it's with Lascelles, who Lascelles isn't the best defender, so I do think he's better in a back 5. But if he's going to play in a back 4 in the future, I think Fernandes brings the better out of him than Lascelles does.
Yeah, for sure. I'll continue with the captain, Jamal Lascelles, and I think it's going to be very similar in terms of the types of opinions, because I think all 3 centre halves were very comfortable. Like Sam mentioned before, Wolves didn't really look like scoring unless there was really a mistake. I'm gonna go with 7 as well. I'm gonna go straight down the middle. I'm gonna continue, with what Adam's mark was. I think Jamal Lascelles was comfortable. There was obviously a bit of a concern when he got taken off, because it did seem like he was holding the top of his thigh. I hope that's not a concern. Hopefully he is fit for Everton next week. But I think the centre halves we got are better when it's 3 centre halves, just because I think they're so used to it. Rafa drilled into it. Steve Bruce has tried tinkering with it. I actually think the formation we play today, if it's got possibly the right personnel, it can work. I just think there's a couple of things that just need tinkering a bit more going forward, but we'll touch on about that going on, scoring the players a little bit later on as well. To finish it off, Sam, Federico Fernandez, similar sort of opinion, or do you think he was slightly better or slightly worse?
Copy and paste. All of them. That back three were perfectly solid today. Superb. Restricted the chances. Wolves got in and around the area. Their only threat came from outside the edge of the box and around the edge of the box, which is obviously what their goal came from. They were good. They were solid, and it was nice to see after last week. And hopefully, Lascelles is okay, and we've got Clark coming back now, Dummett coming back now, so the defence is looking in good shape again.
Of course, left wing back Adam Jamal Lewis. I was always worried defensively for this game because Ruben Semedo was a bit of a nuisance. You had Neto, which I thought was a good tussle in the end. I thought he did okay with him. I thought there was times at the beginning of the game I thought he struggled, but I think he grew into the game a little bit more. I'd just like to see a little bit more, I don't know, a bit more urgency in his play going forward.
Yeah, I'd give Lewis a 6. And the only reason it's a bit lower than the centre halves is because there was, as you mentioned, Jonny, there was a few times, especially in the first half, there was just players getting past him. His defensive work is something he does need to improve on a lot. But I thought second half he was defensively solid. His distribution of the ball wasn't the best. But when Traore came on, which I was really worried about, I thought him and Almiron did a good job for the last 15, 20 minutes. Doubling up on him, marking him out the game. He didn't do anything when he came on, and that's down to Lewis, really. But yeah, just because he let the first half, I don't think he was a switched on as a free centre half. That's the only reason he's a bit lower. But again, I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, of course. We'll continue with the right wing back, and I don't know if the other lads agree, but I think man of the match, Jacob Murphy. Now, who would have thought with saying Jacob Murphy, we're getting man of the match for Newcastle as a right wing back? But it worked really, really well today, and of course he's got us the 2 points. Well, the 2 points, the 1 point. What we're talking about. He saved us from losing probably another couple of points, if we're being honest. But it's a big, big point for Newcastle. I thought he was a real presence today, Sam. And going forward, he just seemed to link well with a couple of the players. And I'm giving Jacob Murphy a 9 today because without his goal, we wouldn't be getting anything today. What did you like about him most, Sam, today?
Remember when I said about playing players in the right positions? Yeah, forget that for the time being. We'll come back to that. But yeah, he was absolutely superb. And do you know what? Fair play to him. Got his head down, worked his socks off last season. This kid deserves it. Really, really does. Newcastle fan had a real tough time at the start of his Newcastle career, didn't he? We all thought, loads of people watching this, we all thought he wasn't good enough and thought we should flog him.
I said that. I didn't think he was good enough.
It's just so good to see a lad like that turn it round. One of our own, in a way. He is one of our own. You don't have to be from NE to be a Newcastle fan, do you? Present company accepted. But
you could see what the goal meant to him as well. When it did go in, you could see what it meant to him. And that was with no fans there. It meant a lot to him. So it was good to see. And I know the keeper should have done better, but it was a great little free kick, actually.
It was the touch of genius because he was the last person I thought that would be taking it. There was 3 around it, wasn't it? It was Almiron, which from where that free kick was positioned, it almost kind of reminded me of where remember when Atsu scored at Cardiff in the Championship?
Oh yes, yeah,
similar to that. So I thought it was just teed up for a little dink for a left footer, but he's bent it around the wall lovely, and Patricio's had a bit of a mare, and Jacob Murphy's recognised that, and he's done absolutely fantastic. So it could be a new little role for him, which Bruce has probably stumbled upon by accident. And I don't know what that tells you if you're Emil Kraft, Manquillo, or DeAndre Yedlin, but
better option potentially. Hopefully, you can continue this form into the Everton game, into the Southampton game, teams that we could possibly get other points from. But it's a great goal for Jacob Murphy. It'll give him a hell of confidence as well. The boost that'll give him.
we'll come back to. I want to make a point, but it's more to do with about Steve Bruce. So I'll wait to the end. But yeah, Jacob Murphy, I just love it. Love it. It's just so great to see, and that's the only real way he can work himself into that team, because the front four kind of pick themselves really on paper. Yeah, so pleased for the lads. So pleased.
Sam, continue with Jeff Hendrick. The only really recognisable central midfielder today. Obviously, Isaac Hayden and Sean Longstaff both on the bench. Shelby's injured, as we know. I thought at first, there was far too much space between Hendrick, Fraser and Almiron. And it almost seems that if Wolves were going to get a counter-attack, Hendrick was just going to be there by himself before it got to the defenders. How did you think he did today in a tough battle for him?
It was a tough battle for him, and he got landed in the brown stuff, because the way we set up today was very unexpected. A lot of flair on the pitch, should have been a lot of flair, and should have been a lot of creativity on the pitch. But when you've got makeshift, you got Ryan Fraser in the middle with you sometimes it was Almiron, it's always going to be asking a lot. So I'm taking that into account with my score, because first half, the whole game, offensively, he was terrible. And his passing and his just was.
Was that his job though today?
However, he broke things up. He got involved, made some vital blocks, vital interceptions, and he's done his job. It was a hard day's work for him, which is why I'm giving him a 5. But distribution-wise and everything else, it left a lot to be desired.
Something to work on with Jeff Hendrick. Adam, Miguel Almiron got his start that he's been waiting for, praying for probably in a preferred position, a bit more central, a bit more freedom to express himself a little bit. How do you think he coped today?
I thought his passing in the first half was shocking, as was a lot of the players. He gave the ball away a lot. But I've just touched on it there with Karl. One thing that massively makes up for it for me was his work rate today. I don't think he had the best footballing game, but his work rate off the ball was excellent. I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was a bit better than Hendrick. Maybe it's not his distribution, but again, I'm going back that last 15 minutes when we were, they're bringing big players on. Trio was a great player, and Almiron knew his job, and he did his job well. Is it his preferred position? I still think I'd like to see him a bit more offensive. I was hoping, when Maximum came off, I'd see him go up front a bit. But I think, if you want work rate in the team, Almiron's going to give you that. Offensively, I don't think it was great. There was a chance in the second half where a ball came across to him, and he had a chance to get a shot. And he's just like, he doesn't seem to be able to strike a ball properly. He's very weak when he comes to shoot, and it just trickled towards the keeper. So that's frustrating. There's a lot more to come from him, but today on his work rate for me, he's just a bit better than Hendrick.
I'll continue with Ryan Fraser in a position I think was completely alien to him. I think if Steve Bruce said to him when he was negotiating about coming to Newcastle, I think he'd have said, "I'm not too sure that's my position," but I think it was just to help the team, and I do think he did that to an extent. He will be very effective when he's in his natural position, in my opinion. I think if he gets more game time, I think he will be someone that Newcastle will rely on going forward in the future. Today's game, I think he was fine. He broke up play, won fouls. What does he get today? I'll give him a 6. I'll be a bit generous and give him a 6. I think for me, again, because he's a little bit more central, and when we've seen Ryan Fraser for like a Bournemouth player, he's been a lot more on the wing, and he likes to take players on. And can he get something in for Callum Wilson, which we'll talk about a bit later? It wasn't really that sort of game for him today, but I thought his experience, the fact that he just had that Premier League experience, I think helped him as well. I think it helped the likes of Murphy, Almiron, Hendrick to an extent, because Hendrick was playing centre midfield. He hasn't really done that for Newcastle as much. He has, like you said, bit parts of centre midfield. So I thought he did okay. And I think as a 3 for a one-off game against Wolves, I thought they did very, very well considering who they were up against, if we're being brutally honest, gents. Going forward, Alan Saint-Maximin, Sam, had Newcastle's first shot on target in the first half, but I was very frustrated with him today. Just with giving the ball away too much.
I thought he was really, really poor today. I thought he's had a bit of a mare. He's probably our worst player, which is why I'm going to drop him to a 4. You could argue he could have got a 3. That shot on target was only it was a shot on target anyway, but it only troubled the keeper because of the massive deflection it took. Apart from that, it was a pretty tame. It would have been a tame, comfortable save for Patricio. Very poor. He's in a bit of a free roll, Bruce said before the game, and I don't think that really worked. I think he might need a bit more discipline on where to play, judging on that. Just nothing came off for him. It was just not his day. I think his best summed up. We all love him, but you're going to get an odd game like that with the kind of player he is. And today was that rubbish day, unfortunately. But there's more to come from him, I'm sure.
He wasn't close. He wasn't close enough to Wilson. We'll go on. You say about the free roll. That's up to the manager. He needs to be closer to Wilson, and he was nowhere near him today. I thought it was his worst game in the Newcastle top. I thought it was the worst I've seen him play today.
Adam, can I ask you, do you think Alan Saint-Maximin would have been better in Almiron's position? The only problem I think Steve Bruce would have had, I don't think defensively he would have trusted him. But do you not think if he was a little bit further back and he had a bit more time to kind of run at people and let Miggy kind of try and work with Wilson, do you think that would have benefited Newcastle today?
No, I know what you mean, but no, I think if we're going to set up with, to defend most of the game like we did, you can't have Maximum helping Lewis. I think we tried it one game and it didn't work at all. I just think he's a player who needs a manager as Sam hit on, a manager to tell him what to do, where to go. And we'll go on to that. He doesn't have that at all in Bruce. So I think Maximum he's starting to get frustrated, I think. He's not playing the same position every game. He's a player who's going to get it. No one is. He's a player who's going to get frustrated sooner rather than later under these tactics, shall we say.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you continue, Adam, with Callum Wilson. Very isolated. He has to kind of almost create his own chances today.
Work his bollocks off.
He does. He does do that, but he does kind of get that one, maybe 2 chances a game. I can only think of one chance really today, and that was in the first half, and Murphy played a lovely ball through. I think if he hits it first time when he's in the box, I think he can trouble Patricio. He's asking for that extra touch, Adam, but very isolated, tough day, but he deserves at least a point for his work rate in general, as you mentioned with other players before.
Yeah, given it's such a undervalued role what he brings to the team, especially in games like this. We didn't have him last year, and it showed. He works that back four brilliantly. His work rate, he never stops for the team. He wasn't great today, but again that'll come down when I get to have me rant about the tactics. I'll give him a 6 today. That might be a bit harsh because his work rate was excellent, but there was a couple of times he got caught in possession that spring into mind. I feel so sorry for him. I'm so frustrated because he's actually better he's a better player than I thought he was. I knew we'd signed a good player, but I've seen him 4 or 5 games now. He's a lot better. He's a very smart footballer, but it's so frustrating that he's up front by himself pretty much every game. But he's doing the job that's been asked of him, and he's invaluable to this team actually.
Sam, who is Callum Wilson's best striking partner?
Well, if it was up to me, he'd be playing on his own with 3 behind him. So,
who's the best to get the best out of Callum Wilson?
We don't know yet because we haven't played our strongest team in our best formation, in my opinion, at least. So, he did okay with Andy Carroll against West Ham, didn't he? Joe Linton looked okay when he came on today, to be fair to him. Didn't really do much, but when given the opportunity, he did. We don't know, but Callum Wilson absolutely worked his socks off today and did a lot of dirty work. And to touch on what Adam said earlier, he was trying to hold the ball up and provide something to a player that should have been closer to him in ASM. And when that came off, for instance, I remember in the first half, he held it up, laid it off to ASM, didn't he? And just completely scuffed the chance. So, that was Almiron that laid it off and then scuffed it.
Yeah.
For Wilson. That was it. that was just. It is what it is. But we'll hopefully, once Bruce has got this, let's have a different formation every game thing out of his system. We might actually find a solution and get something to really support Callum Wilson, because he didn't have a clear-sighted goal today, did he?
Yeah, I don't
For all
think he
he
did.
ever.
Yeah. Hopefully, I get a chance next week against Everton, which is next Sunday for people that are wondering when the next Newcastle game is. The substitutes, Sean Longstaff and Joe Linton, came on first for Newcastle, both at the same time, around at the 77th, 78th minute mark, just before Jimenez scored. We're both going to give them a 5 out of 10. I think they were on long enough to give a mark, but not long enough to really criticise either of them. I think both of them were fine. Joe Linton showed a little bit of bright sparks, but yeah, I don't think he starts in this team at the minute.
I was quite critical of the pair of them in the watch along with Karl over the goal. They both don't close the ball down quick enough for me. It's maybe one you have to watch back a couple of times. I did. And
yes.
They both stopped running.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Sean in particular, didn't he? And he had his arms. He came with it with his arms right behind his back, which I can understand. I can absolutely
VAR.
With VAR and everything. That's going to play on players' minds now, isn't it? But yeah, I'd absolutely take your point, Adam. Yeah,
possibly. I think it's a good point. I think probably again, I think a lot of fans probably missed that, but yeah, very good point, Adam. As we mentioned, Andy Carroll, non-applicable, came on with about 4 minutes to go, but see Newcastle score, so very good. Steve Bruce is the last one, of course, gets a mark as Newcastle's head coach / manager. Right, where do we start with this one? New formation of 3-5-2, 5-3-2 when you defend, of course. You got a point against Wolves. It was frustrating to watch. So there's a couple of positives, a couple of negatives. Adam, I'll let you start it off. I'll let you give your mark and then the reason why, and then me and Sam will do that after. What were your thoughts on the formation first of Steve Bruce today in terms of setting his team out against Nuno's Wolves side today?
It's worrying we don't know our best formation yet. Still going, I looked at the team when it came out. I didn't know who was playing where. I didn't know what the shape was going to be, and that's just really worrying. The substitutions are so predictable. Again, I'm over the moon. We've got a point, to be fair, but I don't think it's that a Steve Bruce masterclass again. I'm going to give him a 4. I like the formation, but I don't think players are playing in the right positions. Murphy did well. He says he's given something to think about. Fraser's not a centre midfielder. I don't want to sound too negative considering we've got a point, but I'm just scratching my head with him now. He's obviously having little digs at fans, at fan channels. He's not happy with the criticism he's getting. But it was so frustrating to watch. I don't know if I'm being too harsh there, but he's just wearing me. He's getting on my nerves now.
Sam, how frustrating is it to watch? If say if you're a neutral or you're a Wolves fan that's popped on and watching this and see what we think of the game, do you think that the formation was actually? I know it's not your formation you go to. I think you're very clear 4-2-3-1 is the way you like to see things. But is this a very good alternative of just the wrong personnel?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean it's very similar to the system that Rafa played, isn't it? But except with ASM in a free role, which I'm not sure completely worked. Maybe it'll work on another day. We don't know. I think they were struggling with the shape of the team. First 20 minutes in particular, with Almiron not really giving Jamal Lewis much help on the left, which when Semedo was causing Lewis all sorts of problems early on. The point I was going to make is about this right hand side, right wing back, right back situation. So you register 3 right backs in your 25-man squad. Okay, Yedlin could have been sold, maybe should have been sold. To make room for them 3 right backs, you sell Dambar Laser, who would have slotted in lovely today, wouldn't he? I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but you've got 3 right backs in your squad and you're playing Jacob Murphy, which is fantastic. It's the right call, but is registering Yedlin? Well, it's Yedlin, isn't it? Yedlin's the third choice out of the 3 now, isn't he? So you're registering Yedlin in expense of Dan Barlaser, who you've had to sell. It comes down to managing the squad, though, isn't it? And today, he's got away with it again. All that attacking flair on the pitch, and we still look clueless. So I still think my system's better. I know he said everyone's a manager. I'm sorry, Steve. You're a better manager than me, I'm sure. You've got the coaching badges and 20-plus experience in the game.
Not sure.
Respect it to the hilt and back. But this team just screams 4-2-3-1. I know that, and to be fair, they're a bloody good side, Wolverhampton, and they're a team going places. They've had their takeover. They're spending big in the transfer market. Their squad's progressing. They're pushing for Europe. They're ambitious. They're everything we want to be, I suppose, aren't they, nowadays?
Yeah, Tim Shea would agree with that, didn't he?
Don't get started on that one.
I mean, Tim Sherwood, how is he getting a punditry job? That's like us 3 getting a That's like us 3 presenting fucking Gardener's World.
I'm actually a big fan of Gardener's World, Samuel Molineux, so please do not disrespect Gardener's World.
Sorry, Monty Don. But at the end of the day, he's just talking shite about a team he's probably not even watched this season.
What mark would you have given him on today?
5.
Right, my thoughts. If football was just based on results before a ball was kicked, would all 3 of us wanted a point? Yes, I think a point would have been a very good point, considering who we were up against the Wolves team, who I thought were excellent, by the way, against Leeds United on Monday night, especially second half. I thought they were brilliant. However, I actually like the formation. I think it actually suits both our defence and our attack, playing 3 at the back, 3 central defenders, because it gets the other 2 out of trouble. And then going forward, if we get the right personnel, I think it can actually work. But I think in a way, you're going to have to sacrifice possibly an ASM or an Almiron in their preferred position. Because for me, our ASM, even though he was meant to help Wilson out, was anonymous at times. He had a couple of little moments, but he lost the ball far too many times today. However, if you play against different opposition, and potentially at St. James's, who knows, we might have a bit more of the ball, Newcastle could potentially do something a little bit different, and potentially it could work. But it was very infuriating to watch, very frustrating to watch. Steve Bruce needs to inject some urgency into the starting 11. Now, I know it was a completely different changed 11, but we're just so slow, so sideways. You need to get the ball forward. If you don't win games, or you don't get points by passing the ball sideways. You've got to go forward and take a few chances every now and then. But it's a point. My mark would have been 5 as well. But again, we'll go. Sorry, Adam, we'll overrule you on this one with 5 out of 10. But it's 4, 5. I think we're clutching at straws. But it's a very, very good point. I think that's what we've got to put out there. It's a very good point for Newcastle, and more importantly for Steve Bruce. It might get the doubters a little bit off his backs, because again, results are the biggest thing for managers. But yeah, that was scoring the players for Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Get your ratings in. I think there'll be a bit of debate. How pleased are you for Jacob Murphy? Obviously, he was our man of the match for Newcastle today. Do you think Karl Darlow should have done a bit better? I think we all do. But it's Everton next Sunday. We'll have a few videos next week. There was a big, big guest on the Greenwood and Molineux show that me and Sam have already recorded. It is big. It'll be out early next week. I believe it's out on Tuesday, Sam. Is that right?
Yeah. I might say the name.
Go for it. Go on. Why not?
So, last week, myself and Jonny spoke to Sky Sports News' Pete Graves, and he will be on the channel on Tuesday.
So there you go. Do not miss it. Pete Graves talks takeover. He talks Newcastle. He talks his journey about becoming a Sky Sports News presenter. So make sure that you sit back, enjoy, and watch what will be one of the best Green and Molineux shows that we've had on so far. But back to the football. It's Everton next week. We'll have all the reaction, of course, for tonight. The last word will be with Lee. You'll have the group reaction as well later on this evening. But for myself, Sam, and Adam, we'll see you all very, very soon.